There's a version of me from a few years ago standing in a parking lot, crying quietly in the driver's seat after a doctor's appointment, doing math in her head that didn't add up no matter how many times she ran it. Not because the number was enormous, because she hadn't built a single system that could catch her when life got expensive and complicated at the same time, the way it does the moment a baby enters the picture. I think about that version of myself a lot, mostly because I know she's not alone in that parking lot. A lot of you are sitting in it right now. I'm Alora. Before my son was born, I thought being financially responsible mostly meant not overspending. I didn't understand yet that it actually means building small, boring systems ahead of time, so that when life gets loud, your money already knows what to do without you. Today, I'm sharing the 8 things I wish someone had sat me down and told me before everything changed. The habits that would have saved me a lot of 2 a.m. spreadsheet panic if I'd started them even 6 months earlier. Habit 1, the one account rule. Before my son arrived, my money lived in one big blurry checking account. Bills, groceries, fun money, all mixed together with no walls between them. I want you to picture a single bucket with everything poured into it at once. No way to tell which part belongs to what. That's what most of our accounts look like, and it's exactly why it feels like money disappears even when nothing crazy happened that month. A friend of mine split hers into 3 simple accounts: bills, savings, and everyday spending, and immediately stopped wondering where her paycheck went. I didn't do that until my son was almost 1, and I lost a full year of clarity I can't get back. If you do only one thing this week, open a second account and move your savings amount into it the same day you get paid before it has a chance to blend into everything else. Habit 2, the baby step emergency fund. I used to think an emergency fund had to be some intimidating 5-figure number before it counted as real, so I never started one at all. Picture a small fire extinguisher mounted on a wall. Nobody expects it to put out a house fire. It just needs to handle the small flare-up before it becomes one. A $500 cushion is exactly that. It won't save you from everything, but it stops a blown tire or a sick visit from turning into a credit card balance that follows you for a year. When my son was 4 months old and came down with an ear infection that needed 3 different prescriptions in 1 week, my small cushion was the only reason that week didn't wreck our whole month. Start with a number that feels almost embarrassingly small, even $25 a week, and let it build quietly in the background. Habit 3, the freeze before you add to cart. Late night scrolling hits differently once you're exhausted in a way you didn't know existed before, kids. Picture yourself at midnight, phone glowing in a dark nursery, one hand on a cart full of things that feel urgent at that hour and completely unnecessary by morning. I used to buy in that state constantly, telling myself I deserved something after a hard day. Now I have one rule. Anything over $50 sits in the cart for 24 hours before I'm allowed to check out. More than half the time, I come back the next day and just close the tab. The urge was real, the need almost never was. Habit 4, teaching money out loud. I used to think financial conversations were for when they're older, so I said nothing at all in front of my son for the first couple of years. Then I realized kids absorb money habits by watching, not by a single lecture at 16. Now, even before he could fully understand it, I'd narrate small decisions out loud at the grocery store, saying things like, "We're picking this one because it's the better price today." Picture a kid growing up who has simply always heard money talked about calmly instead of anxiously or secretly. That's the whole goal, and it starts years earlier than most of us think it needs to. If any of this is hitting home, hit subscribe. I post every week about building real financial stability without losing the parts of yourself that have nothing to do with the spreadsheet. Habit 5, the lifestyle pause. The first time I got a raise after my son was born, every instinct told me to upgrade something immediately. A nicer stroller, a bigger place, anything to feel like the exhausted new parent version of myself deserved a reward. Instead, I kept our spending exactly the same for 90 days and let the extra sit in savings untouched. Picture holding a glass under a running tap and choosing to turn it off before it overflows onto the counter. That's the pause on purpose before the extra money quietly becomes a new normal you can't undo. Habit 6, the repair reflex. Before kids, I replaced things the moment they broke without a second thought. Then I had a baby going through 4 outfit changes a day, and suddenly nothing stayed pristine for long anyway. I started mending instead of replacing, a button here, a patched knee there, and it saved real money. But more than that, it changed how my son sees things. He now assumes broken things get fixed, not thrown away, because that's simply what he's always watched happen. Habit 7, the windfall split. Tax refunds, birthday cash, the occasional unexpected check. I used to treat all of it as free money that didn't count as real income, so it vanished fast. Now every windfall gets split 3 ways the moment it arrives. Something spent guilt-free, something toward a real goal, and something locked away, untouched. Picture that money hitting your account and immediately being assigned a job instead of floating around waiting to get absorbed into nothing. Habit 8, the enough moment. This is the one I wish I'd understood earliest. Somewhere in the sleepless first year, I realized I kept waiting for some future financial milestone to finally let myself feel calm, and it never arrived on schedule. Picture sitting at a messy kitchen table, dishes undone, a baby monitor humming in the next room, and choosing to notice that this ordinary moment is already enough, not a placeholder for some better version later. That shift didn't change my bank balance overnight, but it changed how much power money had over my peace, and that turned out to matter just as much. I think about that woman crying in the parking lot sometimes, and I wish I could hand her this list instead of letting her learn it one hard month at a time. If even one of these habits saves you a version of that same night, then this channel already did what I built it to do. I'll see you in the next one.